NAMM 2012 news brought to you by Groove 3.
Hey, it's Russ from NAMM 2012. We're on the Akai stand, and how exciting. The inventors of what is Rhythm Production Studios have got some new products out. So I'm here with Andy Mack, who's going to talk about it. What's the vision behind this? Again, as I say, you guys are the MPC 60, and you've got a huge heritage of sampling and rhythm machines and production studios. This is a great new product range that's come out. Tell us about it.
Right, well basically we needed to take all the legacy and history of the MPCs, and as we all know, there's been so many hit records made with these products since 1988 when we released the 60. So, we knew we had to take the feel, the sound, the look into the next generation of producers, and also cater for the old school guys who also wanted to take their workflow into the computer. So this is why we have the Renaissance, the Studio, and for iPad, the Fly.
So I was going to say, you're not content with doing one at a time, you brought all three out together. What was the thinking behind that?
Well, the thing is, with the internet, with technology, with how record labels are now, with having things on demand, you need to have speed available and portability. Now, when you look at the Studio, that gives the hardcore studio workflow flagship, where it's his main piece in the studio, where the next model gives the guy who wants to be more portable to take it to the studio. You can flip it on the mixing desk, and then the Fly is the guy who's traveling around the world in hotels. So, it caters for every kind of guy possible who's making music.
So Andy, let's do a kind of walk and talk, I think, around the stand. Is this Daddy?
Right, this is the Daddy, right? So when any MPC user will walk up to this product and he will know where he is without even having to look at the software. Now, this isn't a standalone unit, it is a controller, but it's got all the same MPC layout from, like I said, from the 60 upwards. Now what we wanted to do, the MPC 3000 was probably the most famous one out of the whole brand. Dr. Dre, Rodney Jerkins, the list goes on. MJ Cole in the UK. It's a massive list. Now, to take that format and put it into the computer was all about the hardware. So, like I said, we have the transport control, we have the value knob here, we have inputs and outputs here, we have the MPC 3000 screen, and then we have a new control service here that interacts with the software. Now, one of the main things though with this particular device, we haven't just given you the controller, we've actually taken the same A to D, D to A converters from a 3000 and put it inside here, and it's called vintage mode. So when you hit this button over here and hit it into MPC 3000 mode, you get a low end boost at about 100k, and then you hit the mid range and you start getting the same sound that was famous for so many records. Then, if that's not enough, you flip it to MPC 60 mode, and then the whole thing goes 12-bit.
Fantastic. So, and of course then, we've now got software.
Yeah. Now, this is really where the magic is. Now, there's a lot of competition out there that has tried to emulate what we do, and some people have made a bit of traction, but now having a proper software program that gives you the proper workflow of how it should have been made is now available. So what the software will do will give you the same workflow without having to think about what you need to do as a producer. So simple things. If you're trying to layer some drums and you just want to layer 3 or 4 kick drums, and the thing is with drums at the moment, they are the most important thing about a record in today's dance industry. So we can go to one pad, we can go to edit, we've got a layer here where we can layer 4 kick drums and really sculpture the sound. And then top of that, we can then go to our virtual plugins, we can pull down our waves, our UADs, or whatever we got, and layer those to one pad.
So what platforms are your plugins running?
VSTs, AUs, and RTAS.
Fantastic. Yeah. Let's walk over here.
Yeah.
So this is sort of mid-brother.
Yeah.
So what's the thinking behind this?
Well, the Studio, you're up against a world who want portability, okay? And we've got a new range of producers coming through the market who are like, 14 years old upwards, all trying to make records. So, they're making records in their bedroom, they're going to their friends' houses. So this is something that anyone can take with them. It's very slim, it's USB powered, but they all run the same software. So, somebody who doesn't need the big features, the big piece, can now sit there, put it on his lap, put it on the console, and he can take it wherever he wants. But the main thing is, when you come up to this machine, you know where you are. You're not bogged down with about 50 different menus to get to one parameter. It's all laid out on the controller, and it's a very, very simple layout to use and to make music.
Before we talk more about technicalities for a moment, of course the core to this and what this is all about is sound.
Yes.
Talk about the library. How big's the library? Are they all shipping with the same library?
The library is going to be quite substantial, but the library doesn't stop there. As you can see, we are working with the creme de la creme in the hip hop community. We have Teddy Riley. We've got some of the biggest names in the music industry, wanting to be a part of this movement. We're looking, and it's not just there, it's not just hip hop and R&B. We're looking at the electronic music side of things, the pop music side. We're going to be rolling out some of the most amazing libraries ever known.
So what does it ship with when it comes from
factory? About 8 gigs worth of library already.
And does the baby have the same library as the daddy?
Yeah, same.
Let's move on then. iOS somewhere. That seems to have disappeared. Okay. Do you want to come around here, Eric? So, if you mentioned to anybody on the planet an iPad, they'd have to live on the moon not to know about one. So you've gone to iOS with this as well.
That's right. So what we've tried to do here is, up until now, applications on the iPad are more games. They're more toys to play with, gimmicks. So creating something where you can actually make professional music with it and then take it to your studio and continue your project is what we wanted to achieve. So what we've done, we've used the iPad technology because obviously the processing inside enables us to do what we need to do. We've taken an aluminium chassis, put the MPC pads inside with all the key features, and the software is driven by a kind of an emulation, I suppose, from the MPC 2000. You can import your samples via iTunes. You can then program, you can sample directly from iTunes, from inside the software, so you can literally take your favorite song, put it onto a virtual record deck, scratch it, sample it, cut it, put it on the pads, make your beats, sync it back to iTunes, drop it in the Renaissance or the studio.
So there's an iPad. Does the iPad pull out of that and actually work independent of this unit?
Yeah, you can run the pad on its own, but the great thing about this whole system is that it's a case. It's got a lithium battery inside that powers the controller and charges the iPad. So it's going to give you a massive amount of battery life. You can close it up, put it in your bag, and go.
Okay, final question, of course, the $1 million. Excuse the pun. Let's get price points and shipping dates.
Right. Okay. UK.
Dollars.
Okay. Right. $12.99 for the Renaissance. $599 for the studio, and $299 for the fly.
That's cool, so everybody has a chance now.
Everyone has a chance.
Andy, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for showing us around. Have a great show.